Well, welcome back to the channel, everybody. So it looks like Harley Davidson has gone woke. Just how woke have they gone? Well, I don't know. Let's go for a ride and let's find out. All right, everybody. So recently there's been a big old kerfuffle in the online community about Harley Davidson going woke, and it's all about a video that one Robbie Starbucks had, and it's like I said, it's raised quite the debate. And at first I wasn't paying any attention to it because, I don't know, for me this was kind of old news, and I had other stuff I really was paying attention to. But I did come back to it because I was really curious as to why this was really raising such a fuss, because I kept seeing things pop up in my different feeds about it. And I suppose why this is such a fuss now is because Robbie Starbuck did a really good job in calling out Tractor Supply Company and John Deere and getting them, with the help of the public, to get them to change their ways and issue apologies. And, you know, good on him and good on them for reversing their course and issuing apologies. You know, Bud Light probably could have saved themselves a world of headache if they would have reversed course and issued a public apology. But they didn't, and they probably won't. But that brings us back to Harley Davidson, and I'm like, you know, for me, this, like I said, this was old news. About a year ago, a YouTuber named, or going by Veteran Biker, did a really well-written video about the CEO and the board that runs Harley Corporation right now. And yeah, they're all woke. Every single one of them are just woke as can be. And I didn't pick it up through Veteran Biker. I actually picked it up through Demons Row TV, and I will have that specific video linked down below. And I guess not enough people were really paying attention to what was going on, at least back then. And who knows, maybe Harley Davidson board and corporation has been woke a lot longer, but just now people are talking about it. And so anyway, and as I was looking at all this going down, I decided to check out Robbie Starbuck's video for myself and see what all he's got going on. And I will link his video down below as well. And he comes on spitting fire, and he's got like 19 points that he's trying to make. And instead of just screaming into the void, he is actually bringing the receipts, he's bringing headlines, he's bringing you know, screenshots and all the stuff that someone should bring if they're going to start laying down these accusations. And honestly, if you're trying to rebuttal this, it's kind of hard to go against a headline that says Harley Davidson is a trans ally. And so let me get around this corner, because who knows what kind of, if there's a deer or something hanging out here. So anyway, as I'm watching this video, I'm thinking, holy smokes. I mean, you know, if you combine this video with the Veteran Biker video, and it all makes sense, right? You have a woke CEO and a woke board, and so of course they're going to support, you know, the alphabet agenda and things like that. But I got to thinking, he only brings up one metric. He only brings up one metric in his discourse, and that's the CEI metric. That is the Corporate Equality Index. And this specific index is all about measuring how well a corporation is doing with their with the alphabet people's agendas and issues, right? Is there medical care for those specific people? Is there training? Is there diversity? Is there all kinds of other stuff mixed in with this? And he said that Harley Davidson's CEI was 90. Now that's out of a score of 100, right? Okay. Well, that shouldn't be a huge surprise in today's environment. I mean, like, every major corporation literally is sitting up 90 or 100 or, you know, somewhere in that area. Everything you buy, everything you touch as a consumer is coming from a corporation or an entity of some kind that has that kind of a rating. I mean, that's just where we're at in this time. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, let me go look this up for myself. And it's true, they were at 90. Were, past tense, in 2021. Then in 2022, they were at 80. And then I moved over to hrc.org, which is a part of this, and I find out that last year, 2023, they were down to 45. And I'm thinking, as far as being woke goes, you're not doing a really good job if you're hanging out that low. And my initial thought was, this is just really weird. How is a board and a brand this woke, that low on that score? Now there are a couple of things that are disconcerting, for sure. You know, like the trans-specific medical care and diversity boards. But overall, they're missing a lot of stuff. So that got me thinking to go look at the ESG score. Now, ESG is environmental, social, and governance. And there's a whole bunch of things that divide into those three headers. But environmental, social, governance. 3 separate headers, a whole bunch of things that go into that. And so I went to a place called Ethos, which is one of a multitude of people or organizations that are third party that measure and give a letter qualifying score, you know, to these companies, A, B, C, D, right, F. And as I was reading and doing my research for this a little bit, again, the higher the score, the more woke you are. The more you support these woke agendas like green energy and infinite recycling and diversity, equity, inclusion, all that stuff. Well, Harley Davidson right now is pulling a D. Again, not doing real good if you're being woke. So this really has me baffled. Again, veteran bikers' data is solid. His information is solid. So how can you have a board and a CEO that woke and be that unwoke as a brand? And then if you couple all that with Robbie Starbucks thing, then you're really left scratching your head, because you would expect the CEI and the ESG to be much higher. Or at least I did. I totally expected it to be much higher. And as you can see when I'm cruising through this screen on the ESG score, they're not doing great as a woke company. So at this point, I'm left really perplexed as to what is happening. Now, before I go further, it's fair to say there has been pushback, as you would expect. And I will link those pushbacks in the comment or in the description below as well. I want everything there for you all to see for yourself, and you can decide what you want to do with it. So right apart, it answered the criticism in a very disingenuous way, in my opinion. All it did was use hyperbole and personal attacks against Robbie Starbuck and didn't answer any of the critiquing points that he was bringing up. And so, I don't know, I found that to be just kind of silly. And then there was another that I came across from an HD dealership. And again, it started with personal attacks. I mean, I don't, yeah, what is it? Just personal attacks. But the HD dealership did go a step further beyond just personal attacks. And they did try to answer at least some of those points. For example, Harley Davidson is no longer a part of the United Way. They parted ways back in 2020. This was one of the problems that Robbie Starbuck had in his videos. One of the points that he brought up was that they're putting so much money into this. And they answered that, yeah, Harley Davidson, rents out their museum or their other facilities to groups, but they're not necessarily affiliated with those groups. That's kind of wishy-washy. That may be true, but come on. I don't know. If you know you're renting out your museum, and I'm just saying hypothetically, if you're renting out your museum to a drag show story time, that you're probably going to be attached to that event. But of all the pushbacks that I saw, I didn't see any of them, really tackling the issues that he brought up head for head, issue for issue. Again, so I wasn't left with a strong sense of him being wrong. I was just left with a sense of people being unhappy about what he was saying. And okay, that's fine. You can be unhappy about what he says, but is he wrong? If he is wrong, then bring out your receipts, bring out your point-for-point argument against his, and let's see both sides of the issues in completion. Leave the hyperbole out, leave the personal attacks out. They mean nothing, at least to me, but I know personal attacks will gain people a lot of traction anymore these days. But anyway, the pushbacks, like I said, didn't really mean nothing. They weren't substantive in any real way. Not like the two, like just combine what Robbie Starbuck said to what Veteran Biker's video was, and I think you have a pretty strong case. So, is Harley Davidson woke? Yeah, absolutely. As a corporate, on the corporate level, they are woke. The CEO is woke as can be. He's full activist. And then the board members are woke. I don't think there's any doubt about that. So then why do they have these super low woke scores from people that grade people on wokeness? I think, and this is just speculation on my part, I think it's because the wokeness is restricted to the corporate level right now. It hasn't filtered down to the street level. Now, if Robbie Starbuck is right, then at some point in the not too far away future, It will hit the street level. It will hit your local dealership level. And, you know, I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know how that will impact the company as a whole. But I would imagine when it does and they start somehow forcing dealerships to participate in woke training, diversity training, you know, extreme LGBT agenda type stuff, then I would imagine you'd see those ESG and CEI scores start to climb. You know, that's just what I'm thinking. I could be wrong. So, you know, what do you do about it? Are you going to boycott Harley? Well, I'm not going to tell you to. I think that's between you and your conscience. But I will tell you this much. I do like the approach that Demons Row TV is taking. And that dude is basically saying, if you do buy a Harley, don't buy from corporate. Don't buy from a main dealer. Buy used. Buy from a private entity. Maybe buy from a affiliated mom and pop dealership. Like, I could go to Kawasaki of Salina and get a Harley from them. I could go to Bob's Bikes way down near Wichita and buy a Harley from them. I could go to the Indian store and buy a Harley from them. I don't have to go to Twister City Harley to buy a bike, to buy a Harley. I don't. And I suppose the other thing you could do is call up Harley Corporate, and if you disagree with all this, let them know how you feel. Tell them you're not going to buy another new Harley. Tell them you're going to encourage everybody you know not to buy a new Harley. I will say this, boycotting a Harley is going to be a lot different than boycotting Bud Light, right? I mean, I used to drink Bud Light Platinum all the time. I boycotted Bud Light. I went to Yingling and I like it. I'm fine. I don't have to ride a Harley. I don't have to buy a Harley. I would like to someday, but I think I will do it from one of the ways that I just described. So anyway, those are just my thoughts. Those are just kind of the things that I came up with. At the end of the day, it's up to you and your conscience and what you want to do with this, if you want to do anything with it at all. And with that, I'll leave it. If you want, drop a comment. Tell me what you think about it. If you've seen the videos, if you have an opinion. And until next time, you be good. We'll check you out later. Bye.